know how to work the camera.
I'm on TikTok every week, but
I
I don't
know,
join
I
nobody
know,
else live.
I know.
I don't join nobody else live, so I'm trying to figure out. Hold on. Let's see here.
Y'all come
No,
on
oh,
in. This
boom.
is going to be an amazing time with me and Coach Ken. I'm excited about being with my brother.
There we go.
There you
There we
go.
go.
There you go.
There we go. Looks good, man. Looks good, baby.
What's
How
going
you
on,
feeling?
man? What's
I'm
going
feeling.
on?
Listen. At the end of the day, I've been in here trying to work, right? And
Yeah.
so I have you just like you. I got like a ton of clients, and I have some great results. One of my clients getting married. One of my clients is getting married in a couple of weeks. She's been with me a whole year.
Yes.
She one of the few that follows the protocol, the script, as you will.
Oh my God.
And now she get married. And you know she told me, Paul, I'm gonna tell you what she told me. What she said was, she said that had I known this a long time ago, then a lot of things that I've been doing that I've done, I would not do.
Yes.
And
Yes.
so
Yes.
because she was willing,
Yes.
to get married. Matter of fact, they're gonna have a private ceremony, and then they invite me over. It's in Puerto Rico. They're gonna do a public ceremony in September. So
That's
I'm excited.
amazing. That's amazing. That's Coach. One of the things I always talk to the women about is that what you just said is so key. You have to do the work. I can tell you to come and order my products, get the books, and do all that stuff. That does not guarantee you success just because you go get a book and put it on the coffee table.
Indeed.
You have to do the work. And the thing of it is, the way we coach is not necessarily going to get you to an end result as fast a lot of times as you may want it to be. You're going to have to weed out a lot of people. But the goal is not to just have a lot of people coming into your life. The goal is to get rid of the deadbeats or people that ain't going to work for you, to get to the person or the people that's supposed to be in your life. But you have to do the work. And that's one of the things I find, Coach, a lot of times, trying to get these women to adjust old behaviors to the new behaviors that we know that work, to be able to get the results. That's been a challenging thing. So when I hear you say that somebody did it, they're getting married, that's an amazing thing.
Yeah, and here's the thing. And you're absolutely right. A lot of us, you cannot get right on wrong thinking.
Ah, woo.
So what happens is follow me here for a minute. What happens is that wisdom is a good thing.
Yes,
Wisdom is a bad thing.
yes,
Now, it's polarity. Then what I mean by wisdom is good to know what you know, but then it's not good to know what you know. See,
yes.
because then what happens is because you know certain things, you're not open to something new.
Oh my
You're
God.
not open to something new. And what happens is you begin looking and viewing everything through the lens of the things you know,
Yes,
the things you believed before. And so when they come to somebody like a Coach Paul, and Coach Paul says, hey, do this. Well, because it doesn't line up with what I'm listening to from my friends, what I'm listening to from my mama, what I'm listening to from somebody else, then I'm going to go back to doing what I've always been conditioned to do.
yes,
And that's going to lead me to the same results.
yes, yes. And we get comfortable a lot of times with those practices because a lot of times we feel like it's an easier thing. Like, to make the adjustments we're talking about is really gonna put you in a position to see and move people out of the way really, really quickly, right? So once you start making these adjustments and you're gonna get past all of the nonsense, you're gonna get the people who really bring some real substance to the table. And then, you know what I'm saying, you start to realize that, because I know for me, Coach, as I studied this and started practicing this and living in this and walking in this, I realized how much so many of us don't know anything about dating and relationships. We were never taught it. Everything we saw for the most part were people just figuring it out as they go. You know what I'm saying? We get it. You get what I'm saying? We get into a situation, we figure things out as we move, we adjust as we move, and a lot of times figuring out as you go is not always the best way.
No, it's not the best way, and I'm glad you said that, because why is it that, Coach, we get taught everything? We get taught how to drive a car. We get taught how to balance a checkbook. We get taught how to buy a house. We get our job. We get coached and mentored on our job. Why is it that? And this is a rhetorical question for you, because I know you know the answer.
Yes.
But why is it that we just expect relationships and dating to work without any training?
Yes.
Without any training or anything like that. I mean, why do you think? Why do you think that is?
You know, it's funny to me, and I've said this a many a times, Coach. When I go buy, if I go buy a car, right? Say I'm gonna buy a pre-owned car. I want to know. I want to know the specs. I want to know if it's been in a flood. I want to know if the maintenance has been caught up on it. I want to know if it's been one owner. I want to know all of this type of stuff about this car I'm going to purchase. But I don't put the same type of effort and detail and research and investigation into the person I'm going to spend the rest of my life with. That always kind of like threw me off, right? It's like that's wild to me. If we're talking about, and I just feel like if we get the foundation right in the beginning, if that foundation is right, you don't have to worry about going back later, tearing down a house and rebuilding because there was cracks in the foundation. One of the things I always say, Coach, is this: if you've ever built a house, anybody that built a house know this. One of the longest parts of building that house is that foundation process.
That foundation.
You'll ride by there every day looking like, man, God damn it, it's been 2 weeks, it's been 3 weeks, it's been a month.
That's so true.
Because they gotta make sure that foundation. But when them signs start going up, everything after that takes off. We gotta do the work. We gotta do the foundational work and take the time that's necessary to make sure our foundations are on point.
Nah, man, that's a great analogy, Coach. Great analogy, because you're right. Like, I'm in the process of now, we're looking at building a home, another house, right? And so one of my partners got his house built. And I went by there a couple of times. I'm like, they still working on the foundation?
Yep.
And I never thought about it like you just put it, because the foundation, if that is wrong,
yes,
if that part is wrong,
yes,
then everything above it gotta come down.
So everybody, so most of us, Coach, myself included, people that we coach, we've been building on bad foundations, and those foundations are from what we saw, what we heard, what social media taught us, what our uncles taught us, or whoever taught us, grandma, or whoever, and those foundations. And now we at a place now where we have to get back to really be able to find the love that we know is there. Because at the end of the day, I always tell people this. I took that saying from Van saying, I can't remember my name. She always says, whatever you seeking is seeking you. I tell ladies that all the time. Whatever you're seeking is seeking you. If you desire this, men, if you desire this, it's out there, but you have to be willing to do the work. You can't get tired, you can't get frustrated, and then put the work aside and just go get what's available.
That's true. That's true. Well, let me tell you why we do that, though. Why we do that is because we live in a microwave society. Ooh. And in a microwave society, everybody wants it now. I want it now. You want it now. And I have to guard myself, even in building my business. And I've been building it, and now I'm hiring people. And I used to, when I first started in this, I've been coaching a long time. When I first started in this business, I would look at people who had like 1 million followers, and I wanted mine right now. I want all these followers. And I thought to myself, and I had to back up, and I said, if you had 1 million followers, are you prepared for what 1 million followers bring you?
Oh, yes.
Are you prepared? Everything that we desire, we're not prepared to have it.
Yes.
Because you might say, I had a woman say this, I want an attractive man. I want a man. First, I want an attractive man. I said, well, are you the woman prepared for when other women look at him? Are you prepared insecurity-wise? Are you prepared that other women going to be lusting at them? No, I'm going to get mad. I said, well, you're not ready.
Yeah.
And then I had somebody says, I want a man that makes $250,000 plus. I said, okay, are you prepared for the man who works all the time?
Yes.
If he's making that kind of money, that means he's out there doing stuff. He ain't got time to necessarily be with you all the time. She's like, oh, no, he got to spend quality time with me. I said, so the truth is, we have to be careful what we ask for, but more importantly, we have to evolve into the person that can have the kind of thing that we ask for.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Listen, ladies and gentlemen that's in the room, this is my brother, Coach Ken. He's my mentor from afar. You know, I look at him,
Oh
watch
man.
his life. He's doing major things. I wanted him to come in because I knew that he would be a blessing to what we have going on over here. If y'all have any questions, make sure you just put them in the comments. He's here to talk to us, to enlighten us. I wanted y'all to hear somebody else's voice outside of mine, because this guy right here is the truth. I don't know if y'all have seen him on Caught in the Act with Tammy Roman. He's on that. I mean, he's doing major things. So I want y'all to ask questions, get in here. So Coach Ken, let me ask you a question.
Yeah.
How important, what do you think, how important is our core values when it comes to solid relationships?
Thanks for asking. You know the answer, but I'm gonna go ahead and give you my perspective. Core values are everything, because what people do, coach, and you know this, people rely on how they feel. So let me break this down. There's a difference between compatibility and chemistry. So
Yes.
a lot of times we mistake compatibility for chemistry. So we think because I feel good about this person, or it just feels right, then we mistake and think that they're compatible.
Mm-hmm.
And so let me break down the two. Chemistry is a feeling or a vibration of how we interact and operate on any given day. It's how we feel about each other. All right. That's what chemistry is. That's the vibe and all of that. And so, but compatibility is our core value alignment.
Yes.
That means that me and my wife, we may not like chemistry. We may not even be feeling each other this week. We may
Yes.
not be up. She might be mad at me, or but and that goes up and down. But our compatibility doesn't change. Compatibility is the core values that we live by. We
Yes.
believe our core values, monogamous relationship, core value. We believe that. Core value is how we operate our household like a business. We don't spend over what we make. Core value. Core value, we believe in family. These are the
Yes.
things that when chemistry is not there in terms of emotionally, oh, I'm just loving you, and the hormone release, the dopamine, oxytocin, all of these things. Sometimes, y'all, and that's why I tell people, stop getting love is a commitment. Love is action where I'm committed to you despite how I feel on any given day. And that's how my relationship, 24 years in the game, I love my wife more than I did the first day that I met her. But the difference is some days she get on my damn nerves.
Yeah.
I'm not even gonna lie, I'm sure I get on hers.
Yeah.
But that doesn't mean that I love her any less, that I'm committed to her any less, because I'm not. And
Yeah.
so when I teach people, don't just rely on how you feel, because your emotions will betray you.
Yes. 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 So let me ask you this. So what do you feel about when people say it was love at first sight? Do you feel like love at first sight is truly a thing? Because one of the reasons why I asked that question, because you said you love your wife more now than even in prior, right? So because I understand that love and stuff, it grows and increases over
Right.
time. What do you feel about love at first sight? Because I think a lot of people, coach, feel like if it's no, like you said, the feelings, if it's no fireworks, if my heart ain't pity patting, if there's no, whatever, maybe it's not true love. Maybe it's not supposed to be.
That's not true. So let me
Ah,
explain, everybody listening, let me explain it to you. There is a thing. So love at first sight, what it really is, okay, is attraction at first sight.
yes.
It's attraction at first sight. Now, what happens to make you think you're in love? So I'm gonna give you an example. Whenever we feel that feeling, there are three hormones that are released in our body that give us this in love feeling. It is the dopamine, that is the feel good hormone. That's when they call you and you see their number pop up and you're like, whoo, that feeling. Okay. Then there's the oxytocin, which is the bonding chemical. That's when y'all do it. Y'all smash. That's why I tell people stop. Don't do it, right? Or don't do it. When you smash, when you feel connected, that's the bonding chemical that's released. And then there's the serotonin, which is the calming chemical. When you're around them, you feel at peace and at ease. So what happens to people is attraction happens. Then there is a release of these three hormones, coach. And I've studied this. The release of these three hormones give you the illusion that you're in love. It makes you feel like that's what the in love feeling is. And so now all of a sudden you're like, whoo, oh my goodness. And this normally happens in the honeymoon phase of a relationship. And you ever notice how when these hormones are released, you don't really notice anything negative about the other person. You don't notice they chew funny. You don't notice they head big. You don't notice they snore like crazy. You be like, I don't like the way this fool dressed. You don't notice. You're like, he's the best dressed in the world when these hormones are released. And so to answer your question, no, I don't feel this love at first sight. I believe it is attraction at first sight.
Yes.
There is attraction at first sight. And then after the attraction, I believe these hormones are released to create the illusion of love.
Wow. So when a man and a woman first comes together, right? Okay, let's just say that a woman is out minding her business. She's looking the part. She's open to meeting somebody.
Mm-hmm.
What do you feel like is something that a woman can do without getting her out of her feminine energy?
Okay.
To attract a particular guy that she's interested in?
Oh, this is what you know what? I always knew you were smarter than the average guy. Remember when I first reached out to you, I always knew that. Because I had been watching your videos for a long time, and I was like, I like this guy. You know why I liked you though? Not because you were saying anything that women wanted to hear, but because you were telling the truth.
Yes.
And you said it in a way that as a man, I'm like, yeah, that's right. That's right.
Yeah. Yeah.
So to answer your question, here's what I said. What a woman can do without getting out of her feminine energy. Two things. Number one, make eye contact and smile.
Mm-hmm.
There are studies that show the endorphins released when a woman or a man smiles at a person. Now, what happens is, and a lot of people are like, well, he got to make the first move. Okay. He got to make the first move, but do you know you can initiate it by simply smiling at a person, keeping your gaze for just a minute, not staring too much, but keeping your gaze and smiling. That becomes an attractor factor.
Yes.
Because a lot of women got resting bitch face.
Yes.
Every time you look at them, they frowned up. Because here's the thing about men. Men, just like women, the number one fear of men and women is the fear of rejection.
Yes.
Fear of now, I want you to go with this knowledge. If a man fears rejection just as much as a woman, then he's apprehensive too. He don't want to be rejected either. Because a lot of times you think that a man should muster up the courage and say something. I agree, he should. I agree. But here's the thing. No, he's fighting through fear too.
Yes.
He's fighting through fear. So what I'm saying is, I simply want you smile, make eye gaze for a moment. There's science behind it, and then you can look away.
Yes. You know, one of the things I think is a misconception about us is that women just feel like we are super bold when it comes to approaching women. And it's not all. I always tell women this, coach. I say, listen, if you meet a guy and he's really, really confident, he's macho, he's coming to you with his, the bravado, and he know all the right things to say, this may be a guy that you probably don't want to be with.
Yeah. Now, you know what? Somebody said about yelling on screaming on YouTube. Maybe I want to make, hold on a second. Did I come back? Okay.
Yeah,
I want to make sure I'm not screaming. So I'm
Nah, I love it though. It's the passion. It's the passion, bro. They tell me I'm screaming all the time. They tell me that all the time. Yeah, I don't care.
I want to get back to your question because I got distracted by that. But you were saying, go ahead, repeat that again for me.
So I said a lot of women, I think it's a misconception that all men are just so bold when it comes to approaching women, and we're really not.
They're not.
And I feel like if you meet a guy and he knows all the right things to say, he comes to you, he's very he knows what to do, everything. I said this is probably a guy that you probably don't really want to be with, because what I always tell women is typically a man who's really coming to you, he's really into you, there's going to be a little nervousness, there's going to be a little shyness. How do you feel about that?
You right on point. You are right on point. If a guy is really feeling you, he
Yes.
may approach you, but there's going to be some apprehension because here's why the apprehension. Because if he's really into you, he don't want to mess this up.
Yes.
So he's very careful about how he's approaching.
Yes.
And so and you make a good point because if somebody is just, it doesn't mean that they don't like you, but I would take it with a grain. I would be cautious a little bit because when like you just said it, when a guy is really into you, he is going to be cautious
Yes.
in the way that he approaches you because he don't want to mess it up either.
Yes.
He doesn't want to mess it up, much like you don't want to mess it up. And so that's why a lot of times relationships at the beginning may seem awkward.
Yes.
They may seem a little awkward, like, people tripping over their words or
Yes.
people not doing things the right way. Somebody said to me the other day, a woman said to me, a guy wanted to pay, right? But I offered to pay. And the guy looked at me and she said, oh my gosh, how can I correct that? I said, don't correct that. You've been used to paying. Let him pay. If he wants to pay, let him pay and simply communicate and say, you know what? I've been used to paying for a long time. So that's why I offer. Just talk through it. What
Ooh.
most of us do is we don't want to communicate through it.
Yes.
That's the biggest,
Yes.
biggest problem. And my expertise, yours is dating. My expertise is communication. I
Yes.
teach people how to communicate when I'm dating in a relationship because everything starts and ends with the communication. And
Yes.
most of us don't know how to communicate because we've never been taught to.
Yes.
We've never been
So
taught.
something you just said just stuck out to me. So because a lot of women today are very independent when it comes to their life. They used to doing things on their own, taking out the trash, taking the car to whatever, right? They meet a guy who's now coming into their life, this is what he feels as a man he's supposed to do or he wants to do, right?
Right.
This is the thing I find out about a lot of women. It's very hard for them to make that switch. And you said communication is key. I also feel that women should kind of start even before they get into a relationship, coach, of learning how to allow other people to do things for them,
Okay.
right? Like
Yeah.
it could be the small things. Somebody come, your son, let your son take out the garbage, but teaching yourself how to prepare yourself for when this real man that you say you want comes around,
Right.
that you can move back and allow him. Because one of the things I feel, coach, how do you feel when it comes to a man that gets in a woman's life and feel like there's nothing for him to do?
Well, he ain't gonna stay long. No, I'm being honest. He ain't gonna stay long. Because men have a need to be needed. So because we've been conditioned as a young person, as a young man, that men serve a purpose.
Yes.
That this purpose is that I'm supposed to do something. And my value comes from what I do. Now, if you think about it, coach, think about it from this perspective. If you said something that I want to comment on that is so powerful. Y'all listen to what this man said. He said, practice letting someone, a man, son, somebody do something for you. Well, what he didn't say was, but this is such powerful advice. What he didn't say is, the more you allow somebody to do something for you, the more you condition your mind that it's okay to
Yes.
accept something from someone,
Yes.
to accept something from a man. And that's because the longer that you don't accept something from a man, the more you condition your brain to say, this is abnormal. This is
Yes.
not normal. I'm not supposed to do this. So when a person does it, it seems like it's abnormal and you reject it. And as soon as you reject that, the man's subconscious says, you reject me.
Oh my God. Oh my God. Oh my God. Oh, so true. So
And so
true.
that's what happens.
So true.
That's why when you said that, I was like, wow, let me explain to them why that is. And that is a practical thing you just said, Coach, that if everybody could get that, I'm gonna adopt that too. I'm gonna give
Yeah.
you credit. But that right there is when you say, hey, allow somebody, what you're doing is, and what I teach my people, everything is practice.
Yes.
Everything is practice.
Yes.
Guys you don't like, practice. Guys you like, practice. Why is that? Practice doesn't make perfect. Practice makes permanent. Let me
Yes.
explain. See, we think that if we practice something, we got to be perfect at it. No, you ain't gonna never be perfect at it. Practice makes it a permanent part of your mind, a
Yes.
permanent part of the way that you do things. So now what I do is it's permanent where I'm going to allow a man to do something for me. I'm
Wow.
going to allow a man, I'm not going to push back and fight him when he wants to do something for me. And
Wow.
now, because it's permanently ingrained in me that a man needs to be needed. He needs to be needed. So let me allow that. Allow that.
Yes. Yes. One of the things I talk about a lot, Coach, is the Ben Franklin effect. The Ben Franklin effect, and I think you probably talked, I think I heard you mention this, but the Ben Franklin effect basically is people don't like you because of what they do for you. I mean, excuse me, what you do for them. They like you for what they do for you. Ben Franklin said, in order to make a person feel good about you, get them to do favors for you, get them to do things for you. Because when they start
Mm,
investing in you, right, people value what they invest in. So what
yes.
so what I try to tell the women, I'm like, listen, when you meet a guy, instead of you going out, because I've heard women say this, Coach, I've heard women say, I want to go buy a man a drink. Uh, okay,
Yeah, yeah,
you
yeah.
know,
I know. I know.
okay, but I think it's better for you to ask get that man serving you in the beginning. One thing, when a man starts doing things for you, and it could be something small. Can you wash my jacket while I run to the restroom? Can you hand me that napkin over there? Can you do this for me? He starts to take a real interest in you because now he's pouring into you. He's investing in you. What do you think about that?
Okay, again, that's smart. Let me break down why. Because a man, his whole idea, a man's premise, he's been taught his whole life that a man protects, provides, professes. Protects, provide,
Yes.
professes. Okay? When you say, watch my jacket, what are you doing? I'm protecting you.
Ooh.
See, now what you're doing, you're allowing him to assume his natural role. When you
Yes.
say, watch my jacket, hey, would you help me do this? Would you help?
Yes.
And see, what we think is we look at things from a natural perspective, but we don't understand the psychological part of what's actually going on. And so when you say, watch my jacket, when you say, hey, would you do this for me? What you're actually doing is helping the man lean into the role that he knows that's already natural
Oh
for
my
him.
God. Oh
That's
my.
what that.
Oh my
That's
God.
why I say brilliant. It's brilliant.
Oh my God, that's so powerful. So, Coach, another thing I talk to a lot of ladies about, and it's always this thing about, because one of the things about it is when if you you start dating and trying to meet somebody, you got to get outside and do something. You got to get off the couch.
Got to
You
get
can't
off the
just
couch.
you can't just do work, church, and home. You got to do something. But Coach, what do you feel about? Because I believe in real life dating, of course, but I also believe in dating apps. What is your opinion of dating apps when it comes to meeting people?
So I'm a little older than you, Coach. But let me ask you that. Back in the day, people want to date. They go where the people are. They go
Yes.
where the people are. They would go to the
Yes.
club. They go to church. They go where people are. Well, nowadays people are on apps. The reason why people dislike apps is because a lot of them have had negative experiences. And part of it is they've had negative experiences is because they don't understand the protocol, how to use it, what to do. It's just like back in the day, when we used to when we go to the club, there was still a protocol.
Yes.
You knew how to operate in that. You knew you didn't go home when you knew how to operate in that. Nowadays, again, it goes back to what we talked about. People want to do something, but they don't want to get the invest in themselves to get coached on how to use an app. They don't want to get coached on how do you date digitally in a digital world. Yes, you have to. Now, some people say I'm old school. I want to go out. Okay, I believe in old school and digital. I
Yes.
said, if the summer come around, because summer's coming around, yo, if somebody invites you to a cookout, I don't care what you doing. Stop saying I ain't got you because maybe you think you gained some weight. It doesn't matter. Go.
Go.
Concert. Go. Listen, you gotta be foundable. This is an active sport. This is about people seeing you. It's about getting seen. Somebody who want to lose weight. You can't lose weight without eating right or or exercising. You gotta do principles work, y'all.
Right.
What Coach is saying is, look, do the things to be found. I agree with that 100%. I agree with dating apps. I agree with getting knowledge. I agree with getting knowledge to find out. Yeah. Somebody had a question, Coach, on what were the three P's? First P was profess, protect, and provide. That's what men do. To profess their love for you. If he ain't never told you, then it ain't. Okay? Protect and provide. And protect
Hold on. I don't want to move past that. That was powerful. So profess is, you said, if a man ain't never told you he love you,
yeah,
then it
don't matter. You don't.
Yeah.
Listen, I say this to people. If a man has never said that we're in a committed relationship or you're my lady or whatever, you're not. I'll say it again. You are not. See, here's the thing. The three P's are there for a reason. A man that loves a woman, I tell my wife all the time, I love you. I love you with all my heart. I profess, okay, in front of anybody seen my lives, and I profess, I protect all the time her from physical. That's just one part of protection. The other part, y'all, is protecting emotionally. Some men, while they will protect physically, they don't protect their women emotionally. I just got to be honest. They don't. Emotionally and mentally, they don't protect them. But a man who, don't mean we're not going to get in an argument. Don't mean we're not going to disagree. But when we do argue, I'm going to say, hey, baby, I don't want to argue. When we work through it, I'm going to protect emotionally. I'm not attacking her. I'm not attacking her saying, you're this, you're that. No, I'm protecting that. And then the last thing is to provide. Here's where they mess up by providing. I did a video. I taught a class in my academy on 9 ways a man provides. See, most of us just think a man provides financially.
Yes.
But it's 9 other ways he provides. He provides emotionally. He provides physically. He provides financially. He provides mentally in terms of how y'all view the world together. He provides, and all of these things, when I broke down the 9 ways a man provides, they were like, because we have a limited view of relationships.
Wow. See, this is what we mean, family, when we say we have to learn. There's so much. It's like if you cooking a meal and you leaving out the main ingredients. You can still eat the meal. It might still be edible, but it ain't gonna be as good as it could be if you added all the ingredients. And a lot of times with these relationships and what we are doing, we're not adding in all of the ingredients. We're going by what we hear, what we've seen, what somebody told us that don't really know. Because I always say this, Coach, I think that nowadays we've gotten to a point to where we as adults who actually done been through enough to know what works are following young people who have no clue. Most of these rappers and singers and entertainers are young. They in 30s, 20s, whatever. They still trying to figure life out, opposed to us. We know enough now. You know what I'm saying? We learn by experience kind of what works, but it's like we adopting these, and I think we need to bring the worlds together. I don't say we need to leave one without the other one. You bring them together, but we don't neglect what we know works. But you can learn some new stuff. You bring them together and we kind of build. While we right here, ladies, I want y'all to say, first of all, we are honored today. Let me say this. We are honored to have my brother, Coach Ken, here today. Powerful voice when it comes to dating and relationships and communication and things like this. A lot of y'all probably have seen him on Caught in the Act. Y'all have any questions? Even if you feel like you want to come to the stage to ask a question, just send a comment. Now listen, y'all know me. When you come to the stage, we ain't coming up here we coming up to ask questions. Don't be super long-winded so we can get the help you need and move on to the next person. But we would love for y'all to come up if y'all have any questions. Coach Ken.
Yes.
So
before you ask me the question, Coach.
Go ahead.
Glenda just asked the question and I saw it, so I wanted to go back. She says, how does Coach Ken feel about a first date being a coffee date?
Good question.
So my feeling on that is this. I've heard videos of people saying, well, you know, if you take me to Cheesecake Factory, that ain't big enough or good enough. So my approach with dating is simply, dating is about collecting data.
Yes.
Dating, I'm trying to figure out, I go back to what Coach Paul's first point was. I'm trying to figure out if we are in alignment with each other,
Yes.
if our core values in alignment. So I'm attempting to collect data. I'm not against a coffee date. I'm not against it at all. If we are getting, but what I'm telling people is this, not just a coffee date. Let's go to the park and walk. Let's go to the gym and work out. I want it to be as creative as humanly possible, because here's why. Because from a man's perspective, he might be, I tell people, men and women, date multiple people.
Yes.
Until somebody commit to you. And so if a man's dating multiple people to find out who is in alignment with him, then he might be spending money. So I have to be conscious of that. I'm okay with that, because everybody ain't gonna be your person. So my thing is, I'm okay with a coffee date. I'm okay with us going to the park. I'm okay with us going to the gym. And that's why I tell people, I don't want you to make this transactional. You know what? Because if he's spending money on you, now it's like you gonna go, you know, let's go to the crib. No, this is not. Y'all, everybody needs to understand what this is. And so that's my perspective on that.
I would say this too, when it comes to, because you brought up a good point about multiple dating. There's a saying that says, if you put 5 women in front of a man, he's gonna play. If you put 5 men in front of a woman, she's gonna choose. I want y'all to let that sit there for a minute. so
is so true.
Ain't that true, Coach?
That is so true. Wow, I like that. Say that again, just so
If you put 5 women in front of a man, he's gonna play. You put 5 men in front of a woman, she's gonna choose.
Brilliant.
And basically what that's saying, ladies, in so many words, is that don't settle for anybody too fast. Get to know everybody, right? Don't feel like you just have to choose. You can have fun. And it doesn't mean that you bringing smecks into the situation. You can have fun and get to know people and then do a process of elimination and decide who you want to be with. It's not a bad thing. I think women are so accustomed to just having to choose all the time. And you don't really have to do that. And another thing I want to say, ladies, is make sure if you settle with any man, you settle with the man that's in front of you. What am I saying? We're not talking about dealing with men based upon what he could be, right? We dealing with the man that's in front of us. People can change, but you don't want to bet on that. You don't want to go into a relationship betting on the fact that he's going to change. Coach, somebody had a question, and this is a funny question. I thought it was funny. She says, "Why do men feel they are the prize?"
I did a video on, I got so much hate mail on one of my videos. I think this video had 1 million views to it. And what I said is that, you know, I've been told that women are the prize. And if I'm going to answer the question about men are the prize in my statement, I said that the way we look at relationships, from my experience, the relationship is the prize. Both people are valuable. Both people are worthy. But the prize is the relationship. And so when I said that, People were like, no, women are the prize. I said, listen, I didn't say women weren't valuable. I said women are valuable. Men are valuable. But the prize is a great relationship. A healthy
Yes.
relationship. That's the prize, y'all. Let's stop segmenting. Let's stop dividing by saying just that one or the other is the prize. But and that is the pursuit is a great relationship. And
Yes.
here's the other thing I said the other day. I did a video. I said when people used to say happy wife, happy life, that was the biggest misnomer in the world.
Yes.
It should be happy spouse, happy house. Because let's both honor each other. Let's both honor each other. Let's both value each other. And then what happens is we have a happy household.
Yes.
That's how I teach it.
Because that's the goal. The goal is the happy household. That's powerful. He said the relationship is the prize. Amazing. Amazing. Somebody else asked a question, Coach. She says, how do you feel about a female shooting her shot? You kind of touched on this earlier, but how do you feel about a female shooting her shot?
So I have two views on that. I have two views on that. My first view is I feel like that you can shoot your shot in a way that is still feminine.
Yes.
Yeah. So what I don't believe in is you go outside your character to shoot your shot. Okay, let me explain that. So if you're interested in a guy, there are things you can do to initiate. Like someone said, give a compliment. Okay. Someone said, smile, eye contact. But as far as buying a drink, I don't necessarily agree with that. But I do believe that you can shoot your shot without being out of your feminine. I'll give somebody says, give an example. Number one example is give a compliment. Second example is smile and smile at a person and then keep your gaze on the person for 2 to 5 seconds and then take it away. Because what you're really doing is you're communicating with the person. You're
Yes.
letting the person know that, okay, I find you interesting. So like you just said, another way, ask the man to do something. For instance, would you wash this chair for me? Would you hold this
Yes.
chair for me? Again, those are ways that I believe you initiate it. You initiate the conversation without getting out of your feminine energy.
So let me say this too, Coach, because what Coach said is so powerful about making that gaze. What I want to tell you, ladies, is this: you got to realize something about men. We have a hard time with body language. We're not as good with body language as you all are. Matter of fact, if you look at the studies that are done on it, it says that women have more receptors in the brain to pick up on body language than
Yep.
men do. And the reason why I'm saying that, so if you give that man a gaze the first time, he probably looking around like, is she looking at me? Who's she looking at? She must be looking at them. He don't even know what's going on. I mean,
That
you
is
you
so
might
true.
right. You might have to do it again. Don't get turned off if he doesn't respond to the first gaze. You let the first gaze let him listen. I notice you. The second gauge is gonna let you look. I'm curious, and
I'm
by that
curious. Yeah.
time it should have clicked into him. Okay, yeah, she's really looking at me. So don't get discouraged. Coach, somebody put in there. We got a couple of questions. Thank you all, ladies, for the questions. These are great questions. Somebody put in there, Coach. They said, "What about an age gap?" She said she let a guy go because she was 40, he was 28.
Okay. Here's my take on that. And I want to come from a practical standpoint. Now, love, you can fall in love with anybody any age. Now, if love was just enough to make a relationship work, then fine, but love is never enough. Love will never be enough to sustain a relationship. Okay? Now, when people talk about age, I often say this. If there is a generation between you, then you need to be conscious of that. For instance, if they're in their 20s, you're in your 40s, there's a generation between you, meaning that you must at least take into consideration that when the person gets 40, now when they get 40, you may want different things. They call that future pacing. Okay, when we're talking about future pacing, we're talking about where we are and how we see our lives in the future. And so how we view our lives. So do you view the same things as 28 as a 40-year-old? Okay, you
Right.
may be in love, but as a 40-year-old, you're thinking about saving for retirement. You may be thinking about buying your house, forever house. I don't know. But you have to ask yourself that. Am I against it? No. I mean, I'm not against it, but you have to what I always say is make that decision based on more than just love.
Yes. 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 Yes.
Hey, Coach, Glenda asked a question about size, and I
Yeah.
wanted to address
Yeah. Go
that.
ahead. Go ahead.
She said, "Do men like plus size women?" So first of all, let me get that question. You know, how do you feel about plus size women? Let me say this. Here's the thing: every man, every woman likes something different, don't they? You like some men like them like Coach Paul, tall, dark, and handsome, right? Some like them a different way. And what I want you to understand is there are men who love plus size women. My woman used to be plus size, so she just lost weight. But I love a larger woman. But my partner don't. So why do I say this? And I got another partner who love and won't have any woman that ain't plus size. So what that tells you is simply this, that every single person is preference. Don't get upset because somebody don't like your preference or
Right.
you don't like somebody else's preference. And what I don't want y'all to do is lump everybody in the same category. Here's what I tell you to do. Whatever assets you have, whatever it is, make it the best you can make it.
Preach. Preach.
Whatever assets you have, if your assets are your smile, make that smile the best. If it's
Yes.
your hair, make your hair the best. Look the best you can be, the best you can be with what you've been gifted with. Because everybody ain't attractive, everything ain't attractive. Because like me, my wife will tell you what I like. I love a plus size woman, but I like a pretty face and nice teeth.
Hmm.
Okay, that was my preference, and I like them short. So what I'm saying is everybody's got a preference that they like. So you are someone's preference. So,
Yes.
but don't run around looking like you busted because you think somebody don't like you. Get yourself up. Make yourself look good based on your assets. Accentuate them. What
Because
you
it,
think? What say you? What
because
you
listen,
say,
at
Coach?
the end of the day, the most attractive thing on anybody is confidence.
Yes.
All
Yes.
right. Dress yourself up like Coach said. Make accent your best at your best features, but also confidence is everything because you could be a great looking person and have low self esteem and low self worth, and your whole level of confidence is gone. Let me say this. Let me say this while we here, because let me say this. Y'all got to understand something. There's something called objective beauty and persuasive attraction. Objective attraction, persuasive attraction, right? Here's the thing you got to understand. A lot of women have underdeveloped character because all their life they've leaned on objective beauty.
Mm.
But objective beauty is not what's going to keep a man around for the long haul. It's the character and the personality. Objective beauty is going to get my attention. But I'm not going to stay with you just for objective beauty alone. Your character and everything needs to be intact. That's what keeps me along for the long haul. So a lot of y'all women are really focused on objective beauty, and there's nothing wrong with that. But don't neglect your character. Too many, and Coach can attest to this. We've seen women, and I know when I was out here doing my thing, I would always go for the beautiful woman. She was beautiful, I go to, and then when I start communicating with her, she immediately became ugly.
Right.
Because I started to see her character. Her character was underdeveloped because she was always focused on the objective beauty. How do you feel about that, Coach?
Man, you so on point. I'm gonna take it a step further. You so on point with that because we rely on. Okay, all right, I got y'all. Have y'all ever seen a man, good looking man, with a woman? You say, how she get him? Like, and you might look at her objective beauty and be like, how she get him? They shouldn't be together. Or a man with a woman who the same thing. Here's why. Here's the part I want y'all to understand. Yes, men are physical creatures and we are attracted to something, but we're attracted physically to what we like, whatever we're attracted to. But I want you to listen to what I'm about to say. Men, you ever notice how a man can date a woman that might be a cashier at a grocery store? A woman would never date a man that's a cashier at a grocery store. And you wonder why. Number one, men don't really care about your money unless you're a freeloader. First off, when people are saying, I'm out here, you making 200, men don't care about your money. That's first thing, a real man. Second thing, when a man cares about this is the part y'all need to get. When a man feels good when he is around you, he wants to be around you.
Yes.
I would say, and notice what I just said. When a man feels good when he is around you, when he's having fun, I'm not talking about sexually. I'm not talking about sexually. When he feels good, when y'all talk, when y'all laugh, when you encourage him, when you do all of the things, when you just a free spirit. I'm not talking about sex, y'all. And he feels good about the interaction. All of a sudden, attraction becomes a moving target.
Yes.
Attraction begins to change, like Coach just said. All of a sudden, you ever been around somebody, they start looking better because I like being around them. And that's the first goal is this. How does he feel when he's around me? How do I feel when I'm around? That's why I tell people the first goal of dating is to have fun.
Yes.
It's to see if we like each other, not to see what his goals are the first date. The first date is, do I like being around this dude? Does he like being around me? And when you start there, because you could talk about you want to have kids, how many goals you got to retirement. You can talk about all that. But if you don't like being around a person, it does not even matter.
It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. Coach, we got another question. Somebody asked, well, we got two questions. I'll give you this one first. How do you break a situationship?
Okay. What I call a situationship is an unhealthy attachment. It's an unhealthy attachment because you're attached to someone, but it is not healthy for your emotional and mental well-being. So the way you break an unhealthy attachment, there are several ways. And it's some deep work though required. I'm just going to tell you the ways here, but when we talk about deeper work, that's deeper work where you need to hire a coach. You need to get deeper in finding out. But the first thing you have to do is cut off the oxygen. If you want to truly break an unhealthy attachment, you have to cut off the oxygen. You might say, Coach, what is cutting off the oxygen? Whenever you give something oxygen, it lives, right? Now, what is oxygen in a relationship? I still text you every now and then. I'm still following you on social media. I'm still looking at your social media to see who you with. What happens is you're giving it energy. You're giving it oxygen. And you can never break an unhealthy attachment by giving it the oxygen.
Wow.
Okay? That's number one. Number two, then you have to focus on the story. You have to change the story you're telling yourself. Because everybody who's in a situationship is telling themselves a story about the situationship. For instance, oh, he don't really love her. He's staying in it because of the kids. You ever know? So that's okay. So what happens? Well, he's super busy. He got to help his mama. You have bought in on the story. And so this story you're changing, you're telling yourself. And what happens when we accept the story becomes part of us. Ooh. Ooh.
Wow.
Then the third way is you challenge the story. And there are ways that I teach my people by challenging the story. And then we reinforce the new story. I'm giving you the abbreviated version, but this takes time. It might take 8 weeks, 12. It takes time to do this. But only people, when they come to me, Coach, only people who are committed to doing this. You know what, Coach? Me and you ought to do something together. I'm sitting here thinking about
We need
me
to.
and you gonna do something together. We're gonna talk about this offline. Well, anybody listening, would you like me and Coach to put together some kind of course, class, live where we can teach y'all this stuff? Because I'm sitting here thinking about it, Coach. I'm thinking with the people that I know on my page, people I mean, it's so many people that people say yes,
Yeah.
yes, absolutely yes. I'm thinking because coach, I'm doing a communication class right now. I got 50 women in it. It's called Just Ask How the Right Questions Can Reveal the Right Partner,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah. Yeah.
And what I'm teaching them is how to communicate to connect on a deeper level by asking questions.
Yes.
And I'm just sitting here thinking about all of the people out here that don't know that you've been trying to teach, I've been trying to teach, and y'all, our mission is to help people, and that we can't, one person can't do it all.
Yes.
And so I just think that me and you, we're gonna talk about this offline. So
Yeah.
I just think, and people are saying, yeah, but go ahead.
I
I'm just
definitely, I definitely think it's something we should do because I mean, my thing is the things you've been saying to me has like I'm like changed the story. Like that's a powerful tool. Change the story because you've already formulated something in your mind about a situation that's not true. And in order for you to move, because if you never change that story, coach, you always going to want to reconnect with that again based upon what's going on here. Correct?
correct. That is
Wow.
it. And so what happens is this, coach. When I teach a person how to challenge the story, see, we could say change the narrative. We could say change the story. But how can you change the story if you've been telling yourself that for 3, 4, 5 years?
Yes.
There is the only way you can't just change it. You have to reprogram a new story. And so what I tell people is you don't break a habit. Like when a person says, I got a habit, you replace a habit with another habit.
Facts.
So people say, well, I got a habit of not eating right, not going to the gym. Okay. Well, you don't change that habit. You replace that habit with eating right and going to the gym.
Yes.
And so the new habit that you've replaced it with is what begins to change and reprogram you. And
Yes.
so if we've been doing this all our life, then what we have to do is we have to know how. That's how you get help, y'all. That's how you get help from Coach Paul, Coach Ken, to actually help you reframe the story. I call it reframing the story.
Yeah, reframing the story. Reframing the story. Coach Ken, somebody let me say this to y'all. I see y'all put in the comments. This will be recorded and I will post it up on my YouTube. We'll have the whole thing on the YouTube so y'all will be able to go back and watch it.
Send it to me too, Coach,
Yeah,
so I can post it.
yeah, and I'm gonna
Because
send it to
now
Coach.
then you gonna do some
Yeah,
stuff.
yeah,
I
Coach
got
gonna
a
have it
question
too.
for you. How are you recording it to be able to post it?
Well, you know, once you go back to once we get done, you go back to the live replays and you just download it.
Oh, okay.
Yeah,
That's it. I don't do TikTok, but okay, I'm with it.
yeah, you could just download it, and then what I typically do is I take it and put it on my YouTube, and I'm gonna send it to you so you can do whatever you want to do with it. But we need to
Oh no.
they need to go back and listen to this. So, Coach, somebody else asked a question. It's two of them, and I think this is a power. She says, "What would we tell our daughters about dating?"
Number one, I would tell my daughter date multiple people.
Yes,
And number two, I would tell my daughter the definition of dating. See, the
yes,
definition of dating is the process of collecting data to determine who is in alignment with your core values. That is my definition of dating. I would say because think about it, you ain't dating just to go out to eat. You ain't dating just to have fun. You're dating to determine who the process of determining you're collecting data to determine who's in alignment with your core values.
yes,
And so that's the first thing. The second thing is I would say date multiple people. Because you know why a lot of people don't want to date multiple people? Because it's the stigma of dating that sex is involved. So whenever the reason they don't like it, they're like, oh, because I don't want to be having sex with multiple people. I said, I didn't say nothing about sex. I said,
facts.
dating is the process of collecting data. What we believe that many men will pressure you into having sex. Like, you know what I always tell them? So in my communication, I'm gonna give you something. I'm gonna give you something cool, coach. You're gonna like this. So one of my students came to me and said this. Coach, this man want to have sex with me. And I told him, you got me effed up. You know, I ain't about all of that. And I said, do you think that communication worked? She was like, I don't care. He ain't called me no more. I said, because I asked her, did he call anymore? She was like, no. I said, now, do you think the way you communicated that in that energy, that it would be conducive? What if he was the right guy?
Yes.
Because he may have wanted to have sex with you. Because a man is attracted to women because we have testosterone. I said, what if you'd communicated it like this? This is the same girl that got married in my class, one that already got married. I said, change the communication to this. I said, you know what? The truth is, I'm flattered that you'd love to explore our physical connection. I'm flattered that you're attracted to me. But you know, the truth is, for me, our mental connection and emotional connection is the most important thing right now. And that's what I want to focus on. And if we get to the physical connection, I'm sure that's going to be fabulous.
Right.
And she said she told the dude that is her current husband that. And he was like, I've never heard anybody communicate that way.
Ooh, powerful.
Yeah.
Because ladies, listen to this. We are men, y'all are women. If I'm a let me say, let me because my thoughts are going
Keep it
crazy.
real, coach. Keep it.
If I'm a man, you're a woman. There's gonna be a track. If I'm pursuing you,
yes.
there's attraction there. Trust me. And like Coach Ken said, you can't get offended by the fact that a man wants to take it there. We're men. That's what's going to happen. Now, it becomes a problem. Now, say you just address him as Coach Ken said, right? And this particular man is a mature enough man to know, okay, cool, I respect that, and he moves on with everything else. Now, if he keeps pushing the envelope and then you got a problem. But right. You don't want to start out believing that you have a problem just because he has a level of sexual attraction to you. You don't want to do that. You don't want to believe that, because you could have just messed up a situation that could have possibly been a great thing with a great guy.
Well, she messed it up with the other guy, but it was a good thing. She ended up she took me. She was with me a whole year.
Yeah.
And she came to me crying one day, and she said this, Coach, I'm tired of getting the results that I'm getting. I'm ready to do it your way. And when she said that, I said, number one, first thing you're going to do is change your communication. First thing, before we even got to communication, I said, we're going to change the story you're telling yourself. Okay?
Yes.
Then we're going to change your communication, the way you interacting with me.
Yes.
Because the way a man equates respect with love.
Yes.
How does he equate you respect him? By the way that you talk to him. The way that you communicate with him. And so a lot of people in here are saying, say it again. I'm going to repeat it again. I told her, here's what I said. I said, from now on, you don't ever get mad when a man wants to be with you. It could be the opposite, that he don't ever want to touch you.
Facts.
Then what would you say? I said, but here's how you convey the message. You say, the truth is, I'm excited that you want to explore me physically. A physical connection, I know that when we get to that point, it's going to be amazing. However, I'd love to focus on our mental connection, because that's the thing that I'm excited about. That's the thing that I'm working on right now, to see if we are aligned mentally and ultimately emotionally. And when we get to that physical connection, I'm sure it'll be awesome. And what you just said, Coach, I said if he stays around, he's still interested.
Yes.
Don't mean he ain't gonna want you, but he will respect what you just said.
Yes.
And the way you said it. Well, they ended up getting married. And so what I'm saying to you is that the way we communicate, and that's why, Coach, I want us to do something. Me and you talk about communicating and dating, even with people over 40. Yo, she's 60 years old and got married. Y'all, some of y'all think I'm too old or whatever. Y'all, listen, it's men out there that want to be with somebody. They ain't trying, and can we keep it a buck? They ain't trying to bust 4 and 5 times a week. They want some companionship. They want somebody they can laugh with. They want somebody they can share some time with, have recreation, go to a concert with, have a great meal with. I mean, yo, stop it.
Yeah.
Stop it.
Yeah. You got to ladies, y'all have to open yourself up to be the type of person that you know how to hear certain things and not be offended by certain things, but you still keep yourself in a position where you can present yourself. What Coach just said is an amazing response to that. And I think a lot of men, especially real men, would be able to accept that and to handle that conversation. I think a lot of times, ladies, y'all are so used to guys coming at y'all sideways because these are the type of guys that, you know, you've been encountering, and you want to assume that every man is like that. Every man is not like that. We are wired in a way that we want what we want. Don't get me wrong, but we're not all wired in a way that we can't receive feedback on a particular situation and still move accordingly. Every man is not like that, and you got to give us the benefit of the doubt before you initially assume that it's just one way. I think that's a powerful thing. Coach, somebody asked about long distance relationships. How do you feel about long distance relationships?
Okay, so I've coached several people who were in long distance relationships. I believe a long distance relationship can work, but it has to have parameters. And so most people approach the long distance because if you think about it, y'all, it's more work because when you're not around the person, you have to put more things in place. For instance, you have to be more intentional. You have to be more intentional about the things you do, about the way you operate, the boundaries you have, the standards you want to employ. And I think with long distance relationships, yes, they can work, but those things have to be put in place because here's why. I always want to tell y'all the why. There is a thing because sensory deprivation. Now, I want you to understand what sensory deprivation is. Sensory deprivation is when the mind doesn't get feedback. What the mind does, the mind creates its own feedback. I'll give you an example. So let's say hypothetically, you go to the doctor, coach, and the doctor says, okay, you took a test and we're going to give you the results on Friday at 3:00. Well, it's a serious test, and you're thinking up until Friday, your anxiety is happening because you're worried. So it comes Friday, 1:00, you hadn't heard from them. 2:00, you hadn't heard from them. 3:00, no go, you hadn't heard from them. Now, what is your brain doing by 3-4 o'clock? It's creating its own feedback because it hasn't gotten any feedback. Oh Lord, I got the big C word. I got this, I got that. And then all weekend, you worried about it. And then tell me this ain't so, y'all. Then on Monday, you call them and they say, oh, you're good. We just forgot to call you. And so what happens is the brain creates its own feedback.
Yeah.
Whenever you don't hear from the person, the long distance, if you don't put the parameters in place, then there's sensory deprivation.
Yeah.
Then you begin creating. Where were you? Where were you? You said you didn't call me. What you doing? And what is your brain? Creating its own feedback. All right. And it's called the feedback loop. And that's why you have to make those long distance work, you have to create parameters to make them work.
Wow. Coach, we definitely gotta connect, and we gotta
We about to connect now.
We're gonna have to do that.
Me and you, let me tell you something right here. I'm calling you afterwards. If I don't call you today, I'm gonna call you tomorrow. But what we're gonna do is me and you gonna put something together because people need it. And then what we're gonna do, then me and you gonna go live and we're gonna put it all together for real.
Yeah. Right? We have to do this because I feel like this is it, number one, it's a synergy. This, y'all, believe it or not, y'all, this is the first time me and Coach ever done anything together. And you could
except you came to my
except for the class, but I'm talking about a live. This is the first time we did a live with me and him actually together, and this is a powerful thing. We're gonna take a couple more questions. I'm not gonna hold Coach all day. I'm definitely
I'm with you because I'm gonna ask you to do the same thing one day.
Yeah, and I'm gonna make sure I get this this recorded to over to my YouTube as well as to Coach Ken. But this has been an amazing thing. Coach Ken, tell us a little bit more about yourself, things you got upcoming, things you got going on that the people need to know about.
All right, so for those of you who don't know me, I'm a coach, just like Coach Paul. I have an academy, a relationship academy, where I have women in it, just like Coach. But more importantly, many of y'all may have seen me on. I'm on a reality show called Unfaithful Caught in the Act, where I'm the relationship coach on that show. It comes on MTV on Tuesday night. Just came on last night at 9:00. And I've been on it. I'm on 3 seasons now. and I help people with that. But the most important thing, the thing that I'm most proud of, Coach, and I thank you the other day. I went in your academy, but I'm proud of this. I'm proud that I am helping people communicate better in relationships,
Mhm.
whether it's dating or relationship. And about a year and a half ago, I when AI came out, because I've probably helped over 306 marriages restore. Okay, and I put thousands of people together. And the one thing that I realized that the main reason people's relationships go awry is because of poor communication. And I created about a year and a half ago when AI came out, I hired a developer to help me help people communicate better. And what it was I wanted it because in dating, what people would do is they wouldn't know how to respond. People would say something to them, but they didn't know how to respond. So I would tell them how to respond. Or if they were married, they didn't know how to respond if they were in a relationship. So what I did was I created this software application where if you wanted to type in something, say I wanted to tell my partner that they hurt my feelings, or I wanted to tell my partner, I want to ask them, what are we doing? Where are we going with this? What's going on with this? Right? I wanted to ask them that. I didn't know how to say it. Well, I created this software where if you type it in, it will tell you exactly what to say. Man, we launched it last year, the beta version, and then when we got it back, my academy people brought it back and said, make these changes. We made the changes. We launched it about 6 weeks ago. When I told you about it, we got 700 new subscribers already. And the one thing we added was the workplace, and we added the friends and family. Now, it's way better than ChatGPT. People ask me because we had to program it. ChatGPT is not emotionally intelligent. ChatGPT does not have
Yeah.
communication structure. And so we had to do all of that. And if anybody's interested in it, go to pocketcommunicationcoach.com. And if you sign up for it, and you don't, I think we got a 3-day trial now. Well, you can use it for 3 days. Check it out. Reach out to me. But yeah, that's what I got going, man. And I'm me and you gonna do something together because I'm sitting
Yes.
here thinking about.
Yeah.
Somebody says, go ahead,
Now I
Coach.
was going to say we definitely going to make that happen because I think it's necessary. I think it's needed. I don't. Y'all know me, and y'all don't know. Y'all know. Typically, when you come into my lives, it's just me. I don't really partner with a lot of people. But this guy right here, I watched him. Solid individual. He's on point. I go into his lives over there on Instagram. I sit and listen to the information because he's a powerful. And then he's a man that's faithful to his wife, right? And he's not
Yeah,
afraid to put his wife out there. Somebody said this the other day, Coach. They said that there's a profit in singleness. So you got a lot of people that's actually married or with a significant other that they never expose because there's profit in them seeming single. To be able to
right.
bring your spouse up front and still be able to do what you do, to me, is a very integral thing, and it's a very powerful thing. And I think more people need to see that because we're not just out here coaching. Y'all know I just got engaged. Coach, I don't know if you even
I
know that.
saw that, man.
Yeah, I just
Congratulations. I
yeah, thank
saw
you.
that.
I just got engaged, so we doing big things. But so somebody got one more question, and we're gonna get one more question, and we're gonna get out of here. What
What?
advice? She says, what advice? And this lady right here she make no excuses, powerful woman as well. What advice can you give married couples, Coach?
The advice I coach a lot of married couples. I want to leave you with this. There was one couple who had been to 3 therapists before they came to me, and they were on the last leg of their relationship. And they said they just tried me as a last result because the lady had been watching my videos, and they came to me. So I said, what I first thing I told them, y'all need to be with me 3 months at least. Well, they ended up being with me 6 months, and I will help you turn your relationship around. And but here's the thing I told them. I said, number one, my goal. This is for the lady who said she makes no excuses. This is for man. I said my job is not to determine who's right because there are 4 words that I don't use in my coaching. Something is good or bad, or something is right or wrong. The reason I don't do them, coach, is because what's right for you might be wrong for me.
True.
What's good for somebody else might be wrong for me. So what I say is we only using 2 words. Is it working or not working? And when we come from that perspective, we can do it. So here's the way I work it out. My goal is not to see who's right or wrong. My only goal at the beginning is to help you see the world from the other person's perspective. If I can help you see the world, why your husband believes what he believes, says what he says, why the wife believes you don't spend enough time. If I can get you to see it, I can repair the relationship. And I did it for 6 months. They are more loving, traveling now. They like newlyweds. They having more sex than they ever wanted. I was like, hey, slow down. But that's what it is. And I would say that. And somebody asked the app, go to pocketcommunicationcoach.com, the communication software that's going to literally change your life. Pocketcommunicationcoach.com.
Pocket Communication Coach. Listen, ladies and gentlemen, make sure you go to, you see my, I think y'all can see the website over there, but go to paulelbryant.com. Make sure you purchase the materials. Listen, you got to start somewhere. You're not going to have Coach Paul in your house with you every day, but guess what? You can have those materials. You got to be able to invest in yourself. Coach Ken, I tell him this all the time. There was a lady, and I don't knock people what they do with their money, because evidently she could afford it, but she paid a man $10,000 to help her find her person. She found her person in a year. And I tell y'all all the time, when I went and watched some of the things he was telling her the same thing I give y'all for way under $10,000, right? So you need to invest in yourself. One thing I like about that woman that she did that paid that $10,000, she didn't just pay the money, she did the work. So don't think because y'all go and purchase my materials that automatically means that you're going to fall into a relationship. No, you have to do the work. There's two books on there. There's a 30-day guided workbook for dating success. It's going to take you through 30-day practices to prepare yourself for dating. There's another one on there called 5 Tips for Dating Success. It's a quick reference guide. So as you begin to start dating and getting to know people, you need to ask yourself quick questions. You can go right back to the reference guide. Be like, okay, look, this is what it looked like. This is what all those things are in. Get the materials so you can have it and push you towards being successful. You go to my website, paulelbryant.com.
I'm going over there.
Paul L. Bryant.
Myself. I'm going to buy it too. Listen, let me say this for y'all. Coach Paul is solid. Get the materials he's talking about. Because listen, y'all, here's the thing. You cannot expect to profit from something you haven't invested in.
Facts.
If you haven't invested in your relationship, you can't expect to profit from it.
Facts.
If you haven't invested in your marriage, your dating, how can you expect to profit from something? If you don't invest in something, this man is showing, y'all, we do content.
Yes.
But every chance I get to talk about people like this man, I hired him. I hired him to come into my academy.
He did.
Listen, go and get the tools. You cannot expect to be better without the tools. That's all I'm saying.
That's right.
And look, and go and get my pocketcommunicationcoach.com.
So y'all winning. You got the communication coach. You got pocket communication. You got the books. You got everything you need. And then we're going to come together and let y'all know when we're going to put something together, he and I, to be able to further bless y'all and help y'all move forward to a relationship. Coach Ken, I appreciate you, man. I thank you so much. This is a great honor to me. I'm telling everybody, I was on with Coach Ken today. You know what I'm saying? Look, I've arrived now. I made it, brother. So I appreciate you, man. I really do. Ladies, thank y'all for coming. Gentlemen, thank y'all for coming. And Coach Ken, we're going to connect and talk soon.
All right, y'all. Appreciate
y'all
you.
Have a great day.
Thank you.
All right,
What's up, G?